Welcome everyone to our interview with Rola Turk. Rola, would you like to introduce yourself before we start?
Yes, of course. So Rola Turk, and I work at RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, in the identity space, and I am the Canadian ambassador for women in identity in Canada, the Canadian chapter.
So you said you work at the Royal Bank of Canada. What is it that you do, and what is it about your job that gets you out of bed in the morning, that keeps you going and motivated?
So I've been at RBC for a little more than 5 years now, and I am within identity and access management. I lead a global team currently, and we have various pillars. I have various pillars within my team, and what we do is we enable the business from an access provisioning perspective. So we front the interaction with the business, so they are able to do their day-to-day job. We also operate the IAM controls. So when it comes to access reviews, privilege access, so on and so forth, we do have those as part of our day-to-day operational work as well. We do a lot of reporting and analytics. I do have an analytics pillar within my team as well. So given the operational nature of what we do, we need to, first of all, keep an eye on how we're doing from an SLA that we committed to the business. And then we also do a lot of analytics to sort of identify trends, operational efficiencies, and help drive compliance, across the organization. What I like about my job, well, I honestly really enjoy what I do. I think, being the enabler for the business and then having a role in making sure that, I am, is applied accordingly across the bank. And, we have a role in making sure that RBC remains safe, which to me is very important. And I really enjoy, playing a role in that. I also lead a pretty diverse team. So we're a global team. We have presence in the UK, in the US, Canada. So it's a quite diverse team, and that allowed me to grow and to learn as a leader, as an individual myself. And on top of that, it's no 2 days are the same. It's always busy. So we're always learning. We're always working. It's quite an engaging space as well.
That's really great to hear. And I think it's funny that you mentioned about the analytics pillar in your team. One thing I recognized, I guess you could say, is that analytics, they play such an important part in every department, in every industry. It gives you both the insights as well as the how well you're performing. So
Absolutely.
I get the persons. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's really
cool. Yeah.
And how did you get into this field of your work?
I started way back when. So getting into identity or access and all that, it started way back when for me. I am a gamer, or used to be. Don't have time for it anymore, but used to be one of those days. And that's how it started, with like little troubleshooting, right? So I would get, it used to be on like the old CD, and I'm dating myself, but like the CD-ROM, right? The game on it, and it wouldn't work. And I would just go and play around with the executable files and just move things around until the game works. And that gave me such a fulfilling kind of, feeling. And then, moving to university and studying and whatnot, I was working while I was studying, and I got into a help desk type of role, where I was on the phone with people. They would call in if they have issues, and I was dealing with folks, and I realized that I do have a way of in diffusing a certain situation. So if someone is really upset and they call, I have a way in diffusing the situation, and kind of communicating with them and helping them, and knowing that I turned someone's day around in a positive way was also quite rewarding for me. And then, going forward, I just, moving to Canada and getting into access management role, started as a contractor. And then, it's always been a space that I really enjoy. I enjoy working with people. I enjoy having a role in sort of troubleshooting and granting access and enabling them as well. And then from there is just, progressing through the various levels into a leadership position, where now I also have a role or have an opportunity to help others, elevate them and upskill them, which is exciting for me. And yeah, that's just the journey.
That's a really great journey. And I feel like we've had a little bit of a conversation before, because I do recognize the story of you telling
Yeah,
us about the
yeah,
game. And
yes.
it's funny because 20 years ago, maybe we wouldn't even know about digital identity. It would have been a very vague concept. So I feel like a lot of people in the digital identity space now, they started off similar to you, that are just really into tech, or kind of just fall into the digital identity space.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's a really great story. Go
For
ahead.
digital identity, I think it's more also, and that was prior to me becoming the Canadian ambassador. I remember I volunteered for one of the WID events, the very first Toronto one. And while I was there, I started learning more about women and identity, and I read the code of conduct as well. I went on the website and I started to sort of, because we've always known about identity and access management and all that. And I've been in this space for a really, really long time, but digital identity was a new concept, right? So I think digital presence has always been there. We go, whether it's social media or other platforms, it is there. It's always been. But I think the concept of digital identity is what's new. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it's going to be implemented, because I think the awareness that we have today on around diversity and inclusion and equity was not highlighted as much in the previous years. So, being aware of that and playing a role in making sure that the way digital identity is implemented is being done in an inclusive way is quite big. So it's very important. It's an exciting time to be part of it as well. And that's one of the ways that I knew about digital identity. Plus, as a cybersecurity professional, you're always learning and educating yourself outside of your just day-to-day work. So I started hearing about that as well, and that's how it all came together.
Connected. Yeah, that makes sense. So with the changes in the industry now, I guess you could say, what advice would you give specifically to young women that want to work in the identity space?
I will highlight first that there are many successful women in identity, right? So it's possible. If we're here, then it's possible. That's one part. And then what I would say is there are some really good identity events out there. And Women in Identity is one of them. So we're going to have more events, right? So we do 2 events a year in Canada alone. So and it's a global organization, so there are many events for women in identity across the globe as well. So my recommendation is put yourself out there. Go to these events. There are some really great people there, whether they're in the identity sector or not. Connect, learn from them, ask questions. You never know who's hiring. And it's really cool to hear it from people directly, their experience, what they know, what they would recommend, their suggestions. You never know, right? So it helps the person also understand what they really like or prefer to do, and then go from there. Don't hesitate. Don't think it's too technical. I can. Don't limit yourself. Don't worry about it. And then as you connect with people and you're able to get into the identity field, hopefully, what I would really, really recommend and encourage is bring people along with you, right? Whether women or not, pay it forward, mentor others, raise awareness about identity, talk to people about identity, and keep educating yourself, because I think now more than ever, identity is going to be even more critical and important, especially with the digital transformation we're seeing. So it's a really cool space to be in.
Thank you so much. That's great advice. And that's actually one thing I've learned as well, being with Women in Identity. I've realized the importance of building a network. I think it's helped us out a lot in our work, and I can see it. So yeah, thank you so much for the advice and for this interview. It was really great to speak to you, and thank you for all your hard work as well with Women in Identity. We really appreciate it. And we'll speak soon.
You got it. You got it. Thank you very much, Lillian. Appreciate that.